Welcome back. This is a big video. I got a surprise for you guys. And there's going to be a lot more videos that are going to come from this. And I'm excited to share this with you. I like the word game changer, the phrase game changer. And for many, it would be. Some of the things I'm going to say may make some people upset. And not in a bad way, it's just in they may not agree with me or they're shocked or whatever it is. But they don't call me explicit FPV for nothing. And I'm a straight shooter. Haha, giggity, gun joke. So I'm going to leave a link in the description for this. So this is a little lunch bag that I found a while ago in a different form or color. And I use my Spectrum controller, or I put my Spectrum controller in this because it fits and it's easy to stuff into my bag, and it alludes to why I bought it for this reason. And it's on my desk here, and I'm on the serious side of my office. I'm not over there working. It's still a mess. I'm on the serious side. Sit down and have a conversation with you. Anyway, so we're going to pull a couple things out of here. I'm going to try to do this with one hand. This doesn't allude to it. So I bought this because I wanted to put something inside of it. And it came in a separate carrying case, which works decent if you're just kind of getting out of your vehicle, walking over to a spot and using it. But when we go into bandos and deep into the woods, I carry my backpack. And if I fly more than one thing, I wanted to be able to protect this particular thing. And I got this lunch bag for that because it's perfect. But it ended up being even better than what I anticipated. And let me show you. Like I said, this is like $11 on Amazon. Oh, there's two zippers, sorry. And it works phenomenal. And again, you can get one too. So when we open it up, what do we have here? We have the Avata 2. One of the coolest little dinky things in the entire world that I never thought I would enjoy using, that I have gotten a ton of people to use that have never flown, to people that have flown before, and the big goofy smile on their faces and them laughing while doing it is the reason why I'm going to talk about it. The Controller 3, I 3D printed the gimbal guard that is on here. So if I want to not use this bag for everything, I can put this into my backpack where I put the other one, that one, and it keeps everything protected. And I just like the fact of pulling this off and being able to fly. Not that it takes forever, but I prefer to not have to take these off. And when you have nerves and you're all excited to fly a spot and you're standing on top of leaves and brush or near a river, where we tend to fly and do, you get shaky hands and that goes into the drink and you're gone. I always have backups, but it's something that I don't want to deal with. So planning ahead. Is this one going to sit there? Nope. So we'll put that there. The new Goggles 3. If you want all the tech specs and all that stuff, find a channel that gives you all that stuff. This is here for the entertainment and why I'm talking about it. Something first I'll talk about with these is the pass-through. Thought it was a gimmick. Actually quite cool, quite handy. I have not tried. There's a 3D. There's a couple. There's when you turn them on, you double tap the side of the screen and you'll see out the cameras, and it's a picture-in-picture where you can see the quad's view also. So if you stop somewhere and you're just floating in the air and you're in a safe spot, you can, pick something up you dropped, or if you need to wipe your face or whatever it is, you can see through these if you don't want to take your goggles off. And it's doable. It's narrow, the field of view, but it works, and I've tested it out, tried it. Somebody walked up to me and asked me what I was doing at the range, and I was able to shake their hand. He's like, "How the hell did you see me?" Bing! There's also a 3D version of this that looks kind of like you're seeing through the goggles. I have not tried that yet, and that's not picture-in-picture, but sounds super exciting. And it took me a little bit to get used to them. They are comfortable, but I did modify them. What a surprise, Chris, you modified something. So starting here, you can rip this thing off and add basically a second bumper underneath it, and that allows it to stick out a little bit further, pulling your face away from the screen. It helped a lot. And these things were just kind of, they hold their shape sort of, and they're kind of fluffy. That's the only word I can think of. I actually took foam from my head play goggles and filled this section here to create a better suction on my face. And I also did underneath the forehead section. So again, everything kind of pulls away, fits my face, but there's nothing I could do with this. Insert your dirty joke here. I do not like this at all, and I think that the factory foam, the OEM style that they came up with, it does not fit my face at all and put pressure points on my nose. It was light leak here. Very disappointed. I'm hoping, I got them on Newbie Drones, but I got the ones for my goggles V2, the big fat comfy foam ones, and these things are phenomenal. So I'm hoping to see the same style for these goggles, and that would make it perfect. With older eyes, being almost 47, in a couple months I'll be 47, being able to change the optics and mess with them a little bit. It's so effing HD in these goggles. So impressed. So after popping them on and off a couple times and sharing with people, it's very convenient. Oh, it's a little tight for me. Click, click, click. Or a little loose. Click, click, click. So I'm quite pleased. I like the look and the form factor of the goggles V2, I think, more still. But they work really well. I'm very happy with them. I can't wait to skin it with something. I'm looking forward to adding some fun to this. And then we'll take this out. And as you can see, you could put just props in here. You could put just one particular thing in here if you wanted to just add this. But for $10, you could even do an insert, a 3D printed insert in here. But for $10, it fits super good. So we'll move this out of the way. And again, it has a little thing here, and I added some Velcro here, so you could put props or something in here, extra SD card holder, whatever. All right, let me sit back down and get serious. This thing is incredible. I don't know how well this is going to hold up compared to the other one. I do like the form factor better, the design. Hopefully the battery won't fall out and crashes. And again, the style flying that I do, it's not often. It's usually when I catch a branch and it slingshots this across the woods. And when I've had the battery pop out a couple times. So we'll see how that goes. I love the little thing here. I wish it wasn't orange. I do dig that it's a little rubberized, but somehow make it green. I ordered the rib rider thingies from Original Dobo. Big shout to him. One of the coolest dudes that is out on YouTube and one of the most honest and real. And that creates controversy. That's awesome because he doesn't put up with people's shit. I'll leave those idiots out of the conversation, but I respect the man. So I was happy to see that he had made the rib riders for this, and I can't wait to get them. Of course, I don't leave anything alone. I don't have it in front of me. The LED little pods that I had on the other one that I used as headlamps or reverse blinking, I just stuck them together with the Velcro and stick it on here for now. So I have a headlight if I need, and then it shines in the back so somebody that's flying with me gets a cool view, or flashing so it lets people know I'm flying around them. It has a cool structure underneath all the way around. And I am going to LED that to give you that cool glow. And depending on where I can get them to end, so it stays out of the sensor's way and not mess with that, it's going to look awesome. I can't wait. It's not like the other one where I could take it apart. And if you've watched the previous videos that I've done, if you're not new to the channel, I completely changed the look of my Avata. I think it was one of the coolest ones I've ever seen. Not because I did it, just because it was completely unique and different from everybody else's. Do I have it handy? I got lucky and found these prop guards that came from Germany. And I think I was one of the last people to get them because he didn't want to ship to the US anymore. So this is my Avata one, and I love how it looks. I think it's super cool. So here's the LEDs. You got to order the same ones, so that will be underneath there. I had ideas of making pods for lights and stuff here, and I was going to stick one here, but I didn't know how it would affect here, if you'd see it in the view, so I kind of left it alone for now. And as things progress and they start making stuff for this, we will go in a direction that fits me the most. But out of all the stuff that's here, there's something that I want to talk about. And I got a cool little bag that I had for it already, which is really cool. Okay. Can't believe I'm saying this, but I am super proud to talk about it. This controller has become one of my favorite things that I have ever used when it comes to flying. I took it out. I initially set this thing up. I used the standard controller and just flew around the yard real quick, make sure everything worked, and I had the buttons set up. And then I popped this thing on, and it's cool. I didn't even have to bind it. That was shut off. I returned this back on, and when I powered this up, it automatically saw it, and I was able to just basically start off. It starts off in beginner mode, which can be shut off in the settings, and there's videos out there. You have to go into control and just untag the thing that says beginner so you can do sport and stuff. But I mean this sincerely, as serious as anybody could take me if you know me or you don't. Don't just dog this thing, because that's what I did with the first one. I called it the particular name that everybody else under the planet did and said there's no way I'm ever going to want to fly with that. I'm taking that back. I'm taking that back with sincerity. I brought this to the range. I ordered this thing Thursday, got it Friday. Got it in under 24 hours, and I brought it to the range with me on Saturday. Yesterday, we had a plate shoot setup thing. One of the guys that's running it I'm friends with, and we were trying out how a plate shoot would be, and if the setup that we had was great. And I brought this with me to shoot after it was done. And I was showing everybody flying around with this. And then I was forcing people that have never flown, barely even seen drones, strap on goggles, and then hand this to them and having them fly around. And there was a couple gentlemen that were older and had smiles on their face and were just absolutely amazed with what it could do. And then showing them the head tracking, which I'll get into more in a second. They were just so impressed by the level of detail when you turn this thing, how minute you turn it, and how much it minutely turns. As somebody that gets stupidly high up in a tree and starts shooting gaps through some really, really tight spaces, the level of precision and control that I'm used to doing with that, I was doing with this 15 minutes after I had just initialized, set it up, and started flying. I got the hang of it, and once I understood that you don't turn your wrist, like this, I can't do that with my wrist. You turn, and that's how it turns this thing. As soon as it clicked with me, I felt confident, and I just took it out in front of the house, around the backyard, shot the gap through this slide swing set thing there, and on my way I went. And that was it. Down into the woods and all that. So freaking impressed. I've gotten 10 people in the last 2 days, because after Trap today, before Trap I flew it, and after I had some people trying this today. And everywhere from very experienced pilots, people that have just flown traditional drones, people that have never flown FPV, to people that have flown a lot of FPV through traditional styles, all came up with the same thing. This was absolutely incredible. Again, a lot of these hardcore FPV pilots are like, that's stupid and blah, 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 blah. You still have to have skill and confidence within yourself, wiggling this thing around and having the dexterity and knowing to just squeeze a little bit and whatnot. It takes skill. Yes, they got up and they did some figure eights over the shotgun range and stuff like that and didn't do anything other than basic stuff, but they still did it, which is super incredible. And again, me being in this 12 years and doing all of the traditional stuff and homing my skills, being able to pick this thing up and feel the confidence that I did and shoot some crazy, stupid gaps already, that speaks words to me. And again, when the first one came out, there's not a chance I would have even looked at it. Not a chance. If somebody handed it to me and said, Chris, try this, and I would be like, no, that's dumb. I feel bad for saying that, because this is, it's going with me everywhere we go. I'm going to try this in the bandos. I'm going to try this in the forest, over the water, and all the places that we go. And I'm going to share my experiences with everybody. And, some of the crazy things, if you've watched all the thousands of other videos on the Avata like I have, easy acro, where you go into, so while you have this in your hand and you're looking in your goggles, you pause. And then you have the option to wiggle around, and a little cursor moves around the screen like my finger is. And then you can go and you can click on menu, and then menus come up, and then you can turn on easy acro. You can stop recording, head tracking. When you do easy acro, you're flying around like I was explaining to you. When you push this in any of the directions, it does an automatic flip. And yes, you can be continually moving like a traditional FPV quad where you're moving and you hit the flip button and it goes whoop, and you keep moving. You can't do power loops, and it's a very precise action that happens, and it's identical every single time. And a neat little feature that comes along with that is that when you're not high enough to do it, the little icon where my left thumb here is where the options to do a look back, a drift, or the flip unhighlights itself because you're too low and too close to the ground. So when you raise it back up and you get to the right height to be able to do it, it highlights, and then you can just flip. That's a cool little thing. Again, it's tough because it's more of just for fun. It's not as smooth as a lot of the FPV guys would have, but if you're just kind of clinking around the yard and want to flip and roll, it's fun. The look back feature, if you're looking to make a cool edit. So when you're flying, if you have that enabled, you can go left or go right. So when you're flying at something and you want to flip around it, as soon as you hit left or right, it'll go like this, and it continues to go backwards until you stop it. And it stays on that straight path, which is pretty cool for certain shots. For creators that want to get all of these fun angles of things and stuff like that, I think it's a good tool. It obviously shrinks your form factor of how many things you want to bring. Just these 3 things with a battery in here. You can walk out of the house and go fly without having a backpack or walk down the street. You can toss these on the seat in the car. It's very cool. I think, and I hope this catches on more than it did with the first one. And it's crazy if you look up the price of this. I think it's still 200 and something. F and Chet, my best bud, that got to fly this a bunch yesterday, that's super hooked, is going to try to find this controller for the first Avata. I think he saw one used on eBay for 118. I hope he gets it, and I hope it doesn't get taken from him. And then Ghost of FPV, our other C2C member, was over today, and I let him fly it. And again, smile on his face, absolutely love it. And I hope he picks one up too. That's really cool. I got a ton of footage on here just to go over and review. Oh, so let me back up a little bit. When I flew this at the range yesterday, they had set up the plate matches where they set up a rack that had plates you shoot at and they fall down. And there's a rope and you pull it and it sets them back up. They were all done shooting. Lights were on, so it was a safe range. I jumped over the wall from the shotgun range into the pistol port, and I was flying and wiggling between the plates like nothing. Just calm as can be, just twisting the wrist. And I was able to shoot all those gaps. And then like today, when we were finished with trap, there's all kinds of stands and shotgun holders and all kinds of stuff. And my buddy Tim put his hands out above his head and made the gap with his hands. And I did it. No problem. Didn't even get him in the beard. This thing's cool. I'm stupidly impressed with it. The smile on my face. To watch my father fly it in just complete awe. And then showing him the picture-in-picture stuff. I didn't think I'd be this impressed with this drone and the technology that comes with it, because I love my original Avata. I've had a lot of fun with it, taken it to a lot of places, and I've done a lot of crazy things, including turning it into a submarine. And it's always been good to me. It's always gotten up and flown. And from what I can see from this has a lot to offer. I hope I can find other props. These do work. They're great. It's, oh yeah, stupid quiet. Yes, it's a different tone completely than the Avata, but decibel-wise, it's quieter. Different tone and quieter. I don't know if I've heard anybody else say it that way, where they're just like, it's a different pitch, and they leave it at that. Yes, it's definitely a different pitch. It's a much lower pitch, but the volume created, the sound volume created by it is a lot less. So when you're standing right next to yourself, like when I was showing these guys that how to use it today, I could talk to them without yelling and screaming because the Avata was right next to us, and it wasn't overwhelming the sound. It wasn't blasting you. And then when you got 50 feet away from you, you barely knew it was even there. So big pros to them. But like I said, I hope they come up because you know me, I'm an aesthetics guy. I look forward to seeing some other colors, making this thing my own and standing out. I still will fly this. There's no question about that. I will use this as a specific tool per se, you know, fly one in certain places and fly one. It's never let me down. I did have a weird thing happen with this one, which I'll talk about some other time. We flew a bando and basically in almost pitch black with a little bit of light, trying to get certain shots in this creepy abandoned place, and the thing just wigged out and started taking off on its own. I've never had that happen anywhere. I can't say it's a loss of signal because I wasn't more than 50 feet away from myself. I don't know if because of the water on the floor, it tripped the sensors off, or because it was so dark that the sensors couldn't see anything, but it would have been considered a flyaway. Thankfully, it was indoors, 4 feet off the ground. All I did was bang into a wall and knock one of the little lights off. So, but it is still, I still love this thing. And again, I might put it up for sale. Sell this with just the 4 batteries that I have and the cool charger setup. So maybe that's something I'll do down the road. I got a guy that's interested in it also, but we'll see. We'll see. So this is kind of my first initial talk about this setup. And there's going to be a lot of fun coming from this. And I look forward to making you guys some content using it. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, your honest opinions. I know there's a lot of guys out there that are just not HD or they're not DJI, and I can't call myself a DJI guy because big, huge monster corporation, and I'm kind of against that whole thing. But when Ghosts of FPV and I were talking today, there's a right tool for each job, and for what we do in the very niche style flying that all of us guys over here doing, you know, with the bandos and the tree surfing. Before this came out, this was the perfect tool for me to use. And this is just another edition of that. So I'm very happy to own this, and it's the perfect tool for the job. And to be able to add this to it, I can't talk. I think it's going to add another fun element to it because I like challenging myself when I'm flying. And then if you haven't use it, then it's not going to make any sense. It's not going to click with you. But what you can still do with this as a traditional style flying without flipping and rolling, you can still come up over a gap and then drop down pretty significant. And I was practicing that too. I was trying everything I could think of in mild gaps using what I had at the range today to test what I would kind of fly in a bando or in the woods and stuff like that. And I was able to replicate and do everything with this crazy remote. Again, super cool. It's got a little roller so you can change the gimbal angle. You got your modes you can change. In the middle of pausing, let's say a bug's bothering your face, you hit pause. It pauses it. You can take your goggles off. It sits there and hovers. I have this set up. I can't take this gimbal guard off with one hand, but this has got... Oh, is it going to come off? It's got a... There we go. It's got a nice tight grip on the sticks, which I'm very, very happy with. So I already have this set as dead stick so I can fly in manual mode, which I haven't done yet. I lowered the rates, and I'm going to do that maybe tomorrow. So the only difference would that be when you fly in normal and sport, if you're new to this, that's why I'm assuming, when you fly, it springs back to 0, so I have to keep it close as I can to 0. You know, positive lift, and the negative starts dropping down. And again, I have a nice set tension on this, so it don't wiggle anywhere. So it's almost like that. But with this, if I'm off just a tiny bit and it's decelling just a little bit and I take the goggles off, I suppose you could pause it. I suppose you could pause it with it and it would stay. But if you didn't, it might lift up a little bit or lift down. But again, it's not often that I have to do it. But that's kind of a pro to this, where it's still, you don't need to worry about any of this stuff. It just does it. It's just there. You want to stop flying, you take your finger off the trigger. See, there's a little bit of play right here. So until you squeeze and actually activate it, it does absolutely nothing. It won't turn. It won't do anything. When you add that little bit of pressure, your cursor pops up on the screen, and then you're good to go. Intuitive as hell. Super, super impressed. And you got somebody that would have never, ever wanted to fly something like that, completely freaking hooked. The batteries, they don't look like they're going to pop out. What I got left? 1 bar. Very cool. Oh, it's completely different, unique setup. And it's a lot lighter. Very happy with that. Like I said, spec stuff. battery built into the back. I have flown the living shit. It's got to have 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 batteries on it, and I'm just over 50%, maybe even a little more on the charge. Awesome. Awesome. So I'm going to leave you guys with that kind of information. I'm going to sit down, pop the SD card out, and see what kind of cool footage I have, maybe put something together, a montage. And then if you want to know more about this or whatever, not that you can't find it out there on the bigger channels, this is geared towards people that fly and do things the way that we do, where it's a niche. You know, I can't see a full-blown only freestyle pilot wanting to buy this. I get that. And I've gone through my freestyle stage, but I found the way that I want to fly, and that's why I own this. That's why I own that. So I understand certain people going, that's stupid, and I never do that. I get it. I get it. This is more of just, this is why I like it, and you might too. You might. So keep your eyes open, and you never know what'll surprise you. Thank you for tuning in. This is Explicit FPV. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.